last night was something that I don't ever remember seeing before when watching LeBron James, and that is seeing LeBron James look old. And yes, his numbers are there. Yes, his defense is there. The guys are going to fight back on me on it. But I'm talking about just what I saw with my eyes. I saw a guy, look right there, just didn't have enough energy to just get up to the rim. We see him miss a breakaway dunk. We're seeing him defend it easily going to the basket when he used to be an absolute freight train going to the basket. And with every other day, you wonder, is the battery drained? And can he fill it back up again? He can give him one performance, but night after night, what we're used to seeing from LeBron James, I don't think we're ever going to get to see again. So for me, it was the first time I was reminded, and I've never noticed it before, but I was reminded for the first time that he is 38 years old. And as he walked off the court, you could see Father Time put his arm around his shoulder and say,
man, you are asking for trouble.
Perk, what do you think, man?
What up, Perk?
Alan, stop. Just stop. Stop for a second. You have to really be out your mind if you think last night LeBron James showed us Father Time is catching up with him. That was not the case. We have to look at what the Lakers are asking him to do. He's getting nothing from his point guards. D'Angelo Russell has been a complete no-show. Dennis Schroeder has been a complete no-show in the first two games. You're asking LeBron James to run the point forward at 38 years of age. He had to guard Jokic at points of time last night. That weighs on you. The guy's 7 foot, 280 pounds. So you're asking him to do that. I mean, damn. Anybody would be gassed. A 28-year-old would be gassed if you're asked to do this much because others are not stepping up to the plate. Now listen, did he settle last night and did he shoot the ball horrible from the three? Yes. But as far as looking old, I didn't see that. I saw a guy that was landing all out on the line, was required to do a lot because his teammates are not stepping up to the plate.
Perk, you just made my case for me. Thank you. I appreciate all of that because now we're holding LeBron James to everybody else's standard. Any other player would have been tired. It's LeBron James, not any other player. And he never used to be like that. I'm holding him to his standard. I'm not saying he's a bum now. I'm just saying it's the first time that I have watched him and thought he's not what he used to be. This is not a hot take that's trying to take down LeBron James. I'm just saying that jarred me watching him at the end of the game and thinking to myself, he's not who he used to be anymore because he can't do all the things you just said. He can't do it all. He used to, but he can't anymore.
Well,
the reality.
Well, I thought he did I thought he did a damn good job of actually guarding Jokic and making it tough on him last night.
He did.
That's a tall task. I thought he did a great job of actually orchestrate. I'm talking about, but I'm saying when he was guarding him, Jokic is going to get the triple-double, Allen, but I'm talking about as far as when LeBron James was on him, I thought he did a great job of actually making it tough more than anybody else, more than what Anthony Davis has been doing.
Wendy, how do you explain?
Yeah, I thought it was a winning performance from LeBron last night. He had 22 points, and the three-point shooting was bad. He had 10 assists. He had 4 steals. He had 2 blocks. Jokic was 0 of 5 with 3 turnovers when he was directly guarded by LeBron. That was the big emphasis by Darvin Ham, was to put LeBron on Jokic with sort of Anthony Davis as the backstop. I agree that in 2016, he might have scored 37 points in addition to that. Mm-hmm. So he does need help. He is that chart that we showed where his shooting is falling off, that is an indication of him resting on offense while he's pouring it out on defense. That is essentially what's happening. And so he needs Anthony Davis or D'Angelo Russell or whomever. And I really do think if Anthony Davis doesn't go 4 of 15, I'm not saying 12 of 15. He goes 6 of 15, and D'Angelo Russell hits a couple more shots, it's 1-1. But I don't think that LeBron is the reason for their loss. I thought this was a winning performance.
But I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's the reason for a loss. All I'm saying is when I watched that game, when that game ended, the first thought I had was, man, that's the first time. So you talk about settling, right? Settling for threes. He doesn't drive the basketball as much as he used to anymore. He's under 10 drives per 100 possessions. His worst before that was 15 per 100. So he's really not driving the basketball. What's a reason for that? It's not just defense. It's also the idea that I just don't have it in the tank to keep driving this basketball.
It reminds me a little bit of when Klay Thompson came back from a torn ACL and a torn Achilles,
And 2 months in, people are like, he's not the same guy. Look at Klay Thompson.
What injury did LeBron have? Except for being 38.
He's played the second most minutes
Okay.
in the history of basketball, and he's 38 years old. You're like, well, he looks a little old.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. He looks a little old.
Okay,
Because he is
so
a
you
little
agree.
old. He had a triple-double almost, and he guarded the guy who is literally unguardable for half the game.
You keep
What else
making,
do you want
everybody
him to
makes my
do?
case for me, but says that I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's like saying, Zach, you're 45. You look 45. Yeah, no kidding. I'm 45. I'm not the same guy anymore. That's just like, what are we doing?
Hey, Big Perk, I know last night when I was watching the game, I said, I got to see what my boy's talking about. And last night, my man Big Perk said, I don't know if I've ever seen LeBron and AD look this damn bad at the same time. God bless America. Tell me what you meant.
Yeah, well, I was talking about them on the offensive end, right? We talk about Braun settling, and Braun he's not known, and he was never going to go down as a three-point shooter or a guy, but he has never looked that horrible from the three. And when it comes down to AD, he has zero impact on that game last night, on the offensive end and the defensive end. If you're going to go 4 for 15 or 4 for 16, I believe it was, he shot from the field, at least have 20 boards and 6 blocks. Like, these disappearing acts from Anthony Davis has to stop. He has zero excuses. Right. He is in the middle of his prime at 30 years of age. He has zero excuses for the way that the lack of energy that he comes out with night in and night out.
This game, too, is this a must-win, you think, for the Celtics at home?
I'm going no, and I know that sounds crazy because losing the first 2 at home is generally a disaster, but I just think the Celtics are kind of a scattershot, up and down great team, as scattershot as a great team can be, and I think they could win multiple games in Miami if they lose. It wouldn't be great, but I don't think they're like backs against the wall must win quite yet.
They absolutely have to win this game. If they don't win this game, the series is over. The Miami Heat are beating the crap out of them, literally. Like, they are beating them up. This is what they do, physically and then mentally as well. Joe Mazzulla is getting out-coached. This is a dangerous game for Boston because they have been, what did Jay say? Yes, playing with their food. Like this, they've been doing this the whole playoffs, and they get away with it against Atlanta. They get away with it even against Philly. You're not getting away with it against the Miami Heat. You do not want to put blood in the water against this team, especially Jimmy Butler, when what happened last year happened. No chance. You lose this game, this series is over.
Wendy?
All they do is lose at home in the playoffs. They played 7 playoff series the last year and a half.
Different animal against Miami, though, Wendy. Different animal.
Against everybody. All they do is lose at home. They're 10-10 at home in the last 2 playoffs. That's what they do. I was 0% surprised that they lost game 1. I expect them to bounce back. They have a talent advantage on everybody in the Eastern Conference. They have a talent advantage on Miami. Out of respect for the Heat and their expulsion from Jimmy Butler, I wouldn't expect them to lose 4 out of 5. But even if they went down 0-2, I wouldn't sit here and say the series is over. That's the nature of the Boston Celtics, is that they are all over the place. Their focus goes all over the place. If I was a Celtics fan, I would have driven my head through the wall 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
This team is wild. I have no idea what to expect.
But when does it bite you? It has to finally catch up to you at some point.
Finals last year.
All they do is win games that they shouldn't win, and all they do is lose games they should win. That's who they are.
So, listen, I know what to expect out of Jimmy Butler. He smells blood in the water. What about the Heat for this game? The rest of those guys, do they say, well, we already got one in Boston. What do we expect them to do?
I hope not. It doesn't seem like that's the mentality with that group. I don't imagine that Eric Spoelstra is going to have that mentality with that group where they're satisfied. No, I think they can also look at what I'm talking about. You look at Boston and you look at a team that they'll give it back to you. You look at a team that isn't always intense. You look at a team that needed Al Horford to stop practice before game 1 because he didn't feel like his team had the right intensity to get ready for a conference finals. Joe Mazzulla is throwing clipboards. He's fighting with the media. Like, you see what's happening right now with Boston, and you've got to get in their grill and make sure they stay uncomfortable because that's exactly what you want, is to take another one here and then go home.
Miami is a very high variance 3-point shooting team.
Oh, no doubt.
So
that's a big
guess
part of
what?
what
They made 16 of 31 in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
They could go right back down, and they can do it at home just as well as they can do it on the road. It's a hard time for Miami to protect the lead. It's not as easy.
One guy who's heard a lot is Jayson Tatum, especially about what happened in that fourth quarter, the 3 turnovers, no shots. What are we expecting out of Jayson Tatum tonight?
a big game. I mean, he did have 30 points in game one. I mean, this is the nature of the playoffs. You're playing the best defenses over and over. You're going to have quiet quarters, shaky games. That's what it is for every great player. To go back to the Heat, remember, they won game one in New York. Jimmy Butler didn't play game two. And they didn't go into that game thinking, found money, we got our game. They damn near stole that game with smoke and mirrors and zone defense. So Alan's right there. There is no sense of like, we got the job done. They are coming for the kill tonight. That's who they are.
I know you're going to the game tonight. What are you expecting, especially that?
The Miami Heat, Pat Riley has a thing, ABC, always be competing. The Heat never, ever, ever relent, ever. They're down 17 with 2 minutes to go. They're not done. They're always going to be relenting. The Celtics have the more talented team. So I expect to see that. I expect to see the Celtics talent show up and the Heat to fight them tooth and nail all the way to the finish.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.